Hi everyone, I'm Teresa, your neighbor with a mother-in-law dilemma. My mother-in-law, Margaret, isn't as evil as some I've heard about, but she's certainly one greedy woman. This story is about how she tried to steal my heirloom jewelry, justifying it in the name of tradition. Don't worry, she faces serious consequences. My husband Rhett has probably the greediest mother I've ever met. Margaret is not only greedy but extremely selfish. Both Rhett and his sister Abigail have suffered under her care. She was slightly tolerable when their father was alive, but when he passed away, Margaret's greed intensified. With no husband to check her, she reverted to her greedy ways. Rhett has shared some serious horror stories from his childhood. Theresa, my mom is not the best person. She has always been very selfish and greedy. I doubt you'll ever meet someone like her. Really, Rhett? What does she do? She used to steal money from me and Abigail when we worked part-time jobs in school. She claimed she deserved our money since we were minors. We tried to hide our cash, but she always found it. Oh my God, that's horrible. Why didn't you confront her? We did, but it was futile. She has a huge problem with stealing and demanding gifts. She even returned our toys for money, using the receipts to buy things for herself. How could she be so selfish? Didn't your extended family step in? No, she had bad blood with all of them. She stole from them and acted entitled, so they cut ties with us too. Margaret truly turned out to be a horrible person. Before our wedding, I didn't have any issues with her. She was aloof but never disrespectful, so I downplayed what Rhett told me. That was until our wedding day. I wore a beautiful white dress with a diamond necklace and earring set, an heirloom from my family. This piece, though not from a wealthy family, had immense sentimental value as it represented our family history. Margaret immediately set her sights on it. She approached me and said, "Oh my God, Teresa, is this a real diamond? Where did you even get that? It's beautiful." Yes, Margaret, it's real. This is an heirloom piece that's been in my family for generations. I inherited it from my mom. Oh, I see. Truly a beautiful piece. I wish I could wear it. I think it would look stunning on me. What do you think? It would look good on everyone. This design is one of a kind. You should give it to me. It would be a perfect gift for me or Abigail. We'll talk about this after the wedding, Margaret said. I laughed off her demand and let it go. The wedding kept me busy, and both Rhett and I enjoyed ourselves completely. It was truly a memorable day. However, Margaret never forgot about our conversation or the jewelry. She constantly talked about it and insisted that I give it to her or Abigail. Abigail, on the other hand, made it clear that I shouldn't give my heirloom jewelry to anyone. But Margaret kept insisting. It would be nice of you to give something to your new family, she said. Her pestering continued for months. Rhett tried to shut her down, but she would always start again later. Every time she came over, Margaret went on and on about how pretty my jewelry was and how she wished she had something like it. I started to panic, sensing where she was headed. Just as I predicted, she made the most ridiculous demand. You know what, Teresa? I think you should just give me the heirloom jewelry set. It will suit me better, probably even better than it suits you. I'm sorry, Margaret. I can't give you my heirloom jewelry. It's supposed to go to my children. But I am family as well, so I have equal rights to it. Why did you give me the set for my birthday? It would make my day. Mom, you need to stop hounding Teresa for her jewelry. We already told you it's an heirloom piece. You can't expect people to hand over their private property, especially an heirloom. Teresa has lots of things. She needs to learn to share. Not all of us are born with silver spoons in our mouths. Margaret, I am a self-made businesswoman. This is the only heirloom jewelry I have from my family. We are not millionaires, and it has immense sentimental value to me. I am your family, Teresa. You should be willing to share with family. That's why heirlooms exist. Her bizarre logic was unconvincing, and both Rhett and I adamantly refused to let her use my things. Margaret stopped asking directly but continued to talk about how she deserved some good jewelry. I was getting sick of her comments but chose to ignore them. It was Rhett who eventually sat me down and said, Teresa, I'm so sorry Mom has been hounding you for the jewelry. I don't know why she's back to being obsessed with other people's things. What do you mean, Rhett? Has she done this before? Unfortunately, yes, she did this with a friend, and it didn't go well for her. I'm ashamed to tell you, but I think you should know. Rhett revealed that Margaret had faced consequences for theft in the past. She had stolen her friend's jewelry from her house, and her friend had called the police. Margaret was arrested, and although she was let off with a fine since it was her first offense, she still had a robbery charge on her record. When I heard about this incident, I was shocked and decided to guard my belongings with extra care. However, I never thought she would mess with her own family. That was a long time ago, Rhett. I don't know if we should hold that against her. Did she get therapy for her actions? I asked. Yes, we did force her to attend therapy. Dad was alive back then, and he told her to go to therapy or he'd divorce her, so she went. But she stopped going after Dad passed away. Rhett explained. I don't know if she's gone back to her old ways. I just want to warn you about it. I don't know what to think, Rhett. I believe she wouldn't betray our trust. She wouldn't want to hurt us. We're family, after all. Turns out I was wrong. When Abigail got engaged, Margaret promised to gift her some jewelry for her big day. Abigail was super happy and thanked her profusely. I had some doubts. Margaret wasn't rich and we were helping her with bills. I had no idea how she could afford such expensive items. Back then, I didn't think much of it until I noticed my heirloom jewelry was missing. Rhett and I were frantic. I cried for days, unable to accept that it was gone. I blamed myself for losing it and felt miserable. When all hope seemed lost, I got a surprise visit from Abigail. Rhett wasn't home, so it was just me and her. She said, Teresa, Rhett has been telling me that you lost your heirloom jewelry. Is it true? Yes, Abigail. I can't believe I've been so careless. Lord knows where I've misplaced it. I feel so guilty. I know where it is, Teresa. I'm sorry I didn't come to you sooner. I had a hard time believing it myself. I didn't think Mom would do it. What do you mean, Abigail? I'm confused. A week ago, Mom called me and said she finally got my wedding jewelry. When she showed me the design, I knew it was your set. I asked Mom why she had your jewelry and she said you gave it to her out of tradition and she was holding it for safekeeping. What? That's not true at all. I never permitted her to take the set. How did she even get her hands on it? At first, I believed her, but it didn't sit right with me. People don't just hand out their heirlooms like that. So, I called Rhett to do some digging. He told me the set was missing. I immediately knew Mom took it. Here's the picture she sent me of the set. Oh my God, she came to the house and stole it from me. The day she sent you the picture was the day she visited us. She went upstairs to use the bathroom while we made her lunch. She was stealing my jewelry back then. I'm so sorry, Teresa. I had once mentioned to Mom that I liked the design of the necklace. I didn't think she would steal it from you. Don't apologize, Abigail. She only used you as bait. Margaret had been hounding me to give her my jewelry. She wanted that piece in particular. It was becoming clear why Margaret insisted on inviting herself over that day. She had planned the entire thing. I was enraged and knew I had to do something. With Abigail's support, I left the house to confront Margaret and get my property back. After discussing the details with Abigail, we went to Margaret's house. I knew confronting her was important and I needed to do it that day. It helped that Abigail supported me fully. I showed up at Margaret's house and demanded to speak with her. When she let me in, I said, You should know why I'm here, Margaret. I know you took my jewelry. I want it back right now. Don't try to lie to me. Abigail told me everything. Teresa, there is no use asking for the set. It is not yours anymore. I'm going to give it to my daughter now. It belongs to Abigail. Are you insane? Did you steal my heirloom jewelry to give it to Abigail? What is wrong with you? It's not yours to give. Who told you it was okay to steal from me? Well, you see, we have a family tradition of passing down wedding jewelry between sisters-in-law. So Abigail is going to get the necklace that you wore at your wedding. From now on, the set is all hers. You must be out of your mind. There is no such tradition in your family. Why wasn't I offered anything when I got married? You're rich and don't need more things. Besides, you're not a real part of our family, so you don't deserve to be part of this tradition. So, I don't deserve to get anything, but it's okay for you to give my jewelry to your daughter? You need to give back my property, Margaret. This is not a joke. Don't be so selfish, Teresa. As I said, this is our tradition. You don't get to complain. Besides, Abigail deserves to own a beautiful necklace set like this. It suits her better, and she already loves it. There is no way I'm returning it to you. I was super pissed off. Margaret's entitlement had reached a new level. I trusted her, and she repaid me by stealing my heirloom jewelry. She even dared to give her daughter stolen jewelry and take all the credit, just to avoid spending money on a gift. Margaret looked smug and very pleased with herself, but she had no idea what was coming. Despite my anger and fear for my jewelry, I forced myself to stay calm. I looked her dead in the eye and said, Well, if you don't want to return my jewelry, you can't blame me for what happens next. What do you mean? Are you threatening me? I'm not scared of you and your empty threats. You told me a great story about the amazing tradition in your family. Let me tell you about my family tradition. Since my family has had this heirloom set for a long time, we follow a strict tradition. By tradition, we have this piece completely insured in case someone steals it. When that happens, we go straight to the police to file a theft report. Margaret's eyes widened. What are you trying to say? Surely, no, you didn't file a report against me. I am not joking, Margaret. Like you, I take my family tradition very seriously, so I made a police report before coming here. Abigail even went with me and provided all the proof of your theft. The police will be here soon. No, you are lying. You didn't call the police. This can't be true. I might go to jail this time. They will never let me walk free. Why don't you wait and find out? Let's see if I'm speaking the truth. At that point, we saw cop cars coming from the corner of the street. As soon as Margaret saw them, she ran out the back door into the alley. I had no idea where she went. When the police arrived, she was nowhere to be found. I explained the situation to them, and they promised to search the house for my missing jewelry. So, I left and returned home. I had no idea when Margaret would be back. Back at home, I told Rhett everything that had happened. He was appalled by his mother's behavior. Abigail also called and showed him all the proof. Oh my gosh, Teresa, Rhett said. I had no idea my mom would do something like this. This is ridiculous. I'm truly ashamed on her behalf. I tried talking to her about returning my jewelry. She hid it somewhere and told me that she wouldn't give it back. You know how sentimental the piece is to me, so I went to the police. I understand, Teresa. I would have done the same if I were you. It's just all a shock to me. I need some time to process it. Don't worry, I won't help out Mom in any way. She doesn't deserve that. Margaret went missing for a while. For days, the police tried to find her, but to no avail. We went back to the house with the police and found the necklace in a secret box. Since Rhett had a spare key and permission to enter, we were able to legally enter Margaret's house without her presence. However, I decided not to drop the charges just yet. I wanted her to suffer a little more. After about 2 weeks, Margaret called Rhett from an unknown number. When Rhett picked up, she was sobbing. He put her on speaker so I heard everything. Rhett, it's me, your mother. Your wife has sent the cops after me. I'm scared, so I am on the run. Please help me come home. Mom, you stole and gave away my wife's property. Of course, she would file a police report against you. If you're so scared of the police, why did you steal from Teresa? How could you betray her trust like that? I really wanted Abigail to have something nice. I cannot afford to give her jewelry. Teresa has enough already. She doesn't need so many things. Abigail deserves to have something nice. Mom, don't pull Abigail into this. You wanted the jewelry for yourself. You have been hounding Teresa to give you the set. Abigail never told you to steal for her. Rhett, please. I understand I made a mistake, but Teresa is out to get me. You need to help your mom. I can't go back home. Mom, I can't help you at this point. The police will do everything in their power to find you. Teresa and I might forgive you and take down the case if you apologize. I won't apologize to your witch of a wife. She could have given me the set. Then all this drama wouldn't have happened. That's it, Mom. You will never change. I am done talking to you. Don't call me again. Rhett hung up on her. He was extremely disgusted with Margaret's behavior and didn't want to talk to her again. Even Abigail was pissed that her mom would use her for her greed, so both Rhett and Abigail refused to help her out. I was reluctant to take down the police case because I didn't want her to get away with thieving. Plus, she had hurt me deeply and didn't even apologize. We also changed our door lock and got security cameras installed. I never took down the police reports. Margaret is still on the run, and we have no idea where she is. Since she left her phone at the house, she used payphones to contact us. However, neither Rhett nor Abigail wanted to talk to her. They immediately hung up when they realized Margaret had called. Rhett still feels very betrayed that his mom could do this to us. He's been distraught, and I'm helping him recover from the mess. Abigail's wedding was wrapped up very recently. Margaret was uninvited through an email, and she didn't try to show up at the wedding. I guess she was afraid of getting caught and sent to jail. We did enjoy ourselves at the wedding, and I even let Abigail wear the heirloom piece. I wanted her to look her best and didn't mind sharing the jewelry set for a day. She looked stunning in her entire bridal attire and returned the necklace when the reception was over. We still have no word from Margaret, but are happy to be away from her presence. I'll dig for more information and find out. Also, Don't worry, I made Rhett sign a prenup and only agreed to remove it once he got a job. Looks like that won't be happening after all. With that being done, I simply finished my part of the revenge. The aftermath was glorious. Mary and Kingston at first kept calling me, begging me to get Kingston a job and to pity them. Meanwhile, Riley was on Kingston's case and uncovered the truth herself. I handed over some information to her father, who was also pretty mad, and told me that he would see the end of Kingston's lies. After 2 days, the texts I received from my ex-mother-in-law and ex-husband flipped. They kept calling me a witch and a jerk for destroying Kingston's marriage. Riley and her dad confronted him and then filed for divorce. Since Riley still had the prenup in place, none of her assets would go to Kingston. Instead, Kingston would now have to hire a lawyer to work through the divorce. Marion and Kingston did keep harassing me until I threatened to expose them online. That made them stop contacting me. Last I heard, Kingston still comes by our company to see if there is a position open. I also heard from sources that Mary and Kingston are now constantly fighting about money problems. I guess now Mary will finally know what it's like to be stuck with a man-child for the rest of her life.